What will Tim Burchett and the others of the Oversight Committee learn from the skiff this coming Friday, where theoretically they might get access to the David Grusch information? Well, let's talk about that and more. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, here's Ross Coulthart chiming in on what we can expect.
What do you expect will be discussed at this forthcoming meeting, and how will this closed-door meeting be different than the public U.A.P. hearings before?
Well, there's a big question mark over how much the committee members are going to be allowed to hear, because pretty much everything David Grusch has to talk about is protected by TS-SCI clearances, top secret compartmentalized clearances. And the big question mark that we don't know the answer to is how much are the committee members allowed to be told of what David Grusch knows. My understanding is that they have not been read in. They haven't been security briefed to be read into those compartmented programs. So they're only going to be able to be told in the very broadest terms by the Inspector General of the intelligence community what he knows. But that nonetheless is still very significant, because there is an opportunity here for the committee to finally find out what it was that convinced the Inspector General of the intelligence community, Thomas Monheim, that David Grusch's allegations were credible and urgent. And that
Okay, so I mean that's huge, though, right? I mean they may not get the full Monty, but they can learn what the IG knows, maybe. But you know, my question, of course, is doesn't the IG know everything? I mean, he has all David Grusch's information. Well, let's listen to Ross address that.
Do you expect the Inspector General will present any of Grusch's evidence and even agree with Grusch's claims at this briefing?
No, I don't, to be perfectly honest. I don't think that the committee members are allowed to know the full extent of what the Inspector General of the intelligence community knows. There are people, witnesses, direct witnesses from the legacy U.A.P. crash retrieval reverse engineering program, people who allege that they are directly involved working with non-human technology. Those witnesses gave evidence under oath to the Inspector General of the intelligence community. And frankly, I would be very surprised, Natasha, if that evidence is allowed to be presented to the non-cleared members of the committee.
So yeah, there you go. They haven't been cleared to know all that, and they're not going to get to know it, according to Ross. And, you know, that's probably about what I expect. I expect them to learn more than what they know now. Ideally enough to be able to enable them to be able to form a select committee that could hold open hearings and have subpoena power and call witnesses and, you know, in the public eye. That's, you know, my ideal situation to come out of this skiff. I don't expect that to happen. In fact, I'm actually worried about what could happen, because I'm worried that once they hear this information, their hands will be tied and they won't be able to talk about it. You know, the skiff could be a trap for all the good that it could do. It could also do some harm. So, but you know, it's early days. We will tell when it's time to tell, and we're not going to be able to stop them from going into the skiff. And maybe we shouldn't want to, because maybe it could do some good. But we'll see. We'll see. Meanwhile, Richard Dolan is saying, well, we can't really expect government disclosure until the Pentagon decides that it's time.
Thinking about disclosure yet again, you have to ask, could it happen any other way than a statement from the president? Maybe, but I'm thinking probably not. I think it's got to be the president, whoever is the president. Well, right now we have Biden. Would enough explosive information come out in this year to actually prompt the president to do a genuine, honest UFO disclosure? I'm thinking probably not. He's got to go against the Pentagon if he does so. The Pentagon has never, ever shown a willingness to be honest and truthful about UFOs to the public, and I don't see that changing. So he would have to go against the Pentagon. And the problem is, what is the actual relationship of the Biden White House to the Pentagon? We're not in an era of transparency, despite what they say about that. We don't really know. It's like looking at the old Soviet Union, where you would have to have Sovietologists to figure out, what are these people really thinking? That's our situation today. But I would say he's not going to defy the Pentagon.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, what president could stand up to the Pentagon? You know, even Eisenhower was warning us about the military-industrial complex back in the day. He was warning America in his farewell speech about the military-industrial complex, seeming very concerned about them. And thinking and suggesting that we should be concerned about them as well, and maybe we should. And so if Eisenhower was afraid of them and warning us about them way back in the day, have they gotten any less scary these days? Probably not. Probably they have gotten way more scary, and no president would dare defy them. So we're going to need some elements within the Pentagon to be pro-disclosure, and I think some are. I don't think David Grusch would have been allowed to get the access that he got if there weren't some elements, in favor of getting some of this information out. They didn't assassinate him or the witnesses he was talking about. They didn't, intimidate the witnesses into silence. That information was allowed to come out. So that is an encouraging thought that there are elements within the cover-up that are pro-disclosure. And I've seen other signs of that as well, and I am very encouraged by that. But is that the bulk of the cover-up? Probably not. Is that the bulk of the Pentagon? Probably not. Meanwhile, Peter Skatefish of the Soul Foundation is also asked what to expect from Friday's hearing or briefing.
Let us know what we can or maybe should expect out of this hearing.
Well, I don't think you should expect fireworks out of this hearing, and I don't think you should expect much in the way of a disclosure from Congress about this hearing. They're billing this as a hearing in which they're somehow conducting it at the top secret SCI level, which means that the Inspector General of the intelligence community may be able to share with them some, broad details about the investigation he conducted about David Grusch's whistleblower complaint. But there's an important thing to understand that I don't think is getting covered in the reporting on this. The Inspector General of the intelligence community has has a special relationship to Congress, but it's with the Senate and House Intelligence Committees, and they have jurisdiction over intelligence. So the House Oversight Committee they've had to do some work, I think, to establish a relationship here with the Inspector General, and he's going to have to respect the fact that the other committees aren't going to really like this kind of interaction. And additionally, I think most of the folks on the House Oversight Committee aren't really customarily cleared or the equivalent of cleared to get that kind of information.
So you're saying that because...
Okay, so he's backing up what Ross was saying, was that they don't have the clearances. Even now, in these latter days, after all they've been going through to get this skiff, they don't have the clearances necessary to get the information they really need and that we need them to need or to have. So, it's very disappointing, very frustrating. How can we get Tim and the others the clearances they need? Is it even possible? I guess the Pentagon, to get back to the Pentagon point, would have to be involved in that at some level. But, I don't really know the mechanics of all that, how that works. It's interesting that Peter here is using the word hearing, but is a skiff a hearing? I'm a little confused by the nomenclature there, but let me know if you have a better definition in the comments below. Either way, don't get too excited about Friday. On the other hand, who knows? Speaking of David Grusch and Ross Coulthart, here's what Ross had to say about the coming op-ed article by Dave.
And the other query was David Grusch. My understanding is that David was recently cleared by DOPSA, the Defence Office Pre-Publication Security Review, to be able to speak with a little bit more detail about certain things that he wants to talk about. There was hope that he was going to be able to put this into an op-ed sometime in January, but it's looking like it might more likely be in February. But yes, we can expect an op-ed piece, an editorial feature written by David Grusch, which hopefully more clearly states what he knows and his position on the U.A.P. mystery sometime in the next few weeks.
We might actually get more out of the op-ed than we will out of the skiff with the House Committee. Meanwhile, on a completely unrelated note, well, related, we're talking about UFOs and aliens. Shirley Wright, who was a student of Einstein and actually calls herself his pet, Well, apparently when Einstein was being shown the Roswell UFO and the beings, they actually, the students, especially Shirley, were able to interact with the beings along with Einstein. And she goes into some detail describing their clothes and their appearance, and how there were living beings recovered from this crash. And she also talks about some of their interactions and the information the beings were able to impart. I found it really interesting where she was saying that the beings came from underground. Let's give a listen.
Did they seem to indicate that the atmosphere similar to ours, they're breathing?
They asked us about that, and we asked them about it. Yes, they seemed to indicate yes, that it was quite similar. It was not identical to ours, though, because they claimed they had made tests.
Did they tell you anything about of their lifestyle was there?
We tried to find that out before we could. They really, we were very interested in not antagonizing them at all, so not to the point where we had them answer to many of ours, so we never really found that out. We just knew that they don't live all above ground, according to what they told us. A lot of theirs, what we would call subterranean.
Did they seem repelled by our appearance since they...
Okay, so that's fascinating, and that dovetails with a lot of the stories that are out there. There are so many stories about underground civilizations of beings, like actual cities underground. And, you know, that comes up again and again. And some of the appearances that people have seen have been ascribed to these beings. And that seems to be a thing even in mythology, going back to the ant people of Hopi legend and other legends. So I'm very intrigued about that. Are we the crust dwellers on a planet teeming with life right below our feet? I think that's wild. And thank you, Nico, for sending me this story. I really appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think. Do aliens or beings, I guess we can't call them aliens if they're living on this planet, are they living in vast cities right under our feet, or, you know, a mile below our feet or whatever? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Meanwhile, here's some giant salamanders. What? There's giant salamanders. Oh my God. What? And there's more over there. That's crazy. Oh my God. Look at those huge giant salamanders. I hope they don't eat meat. I guess they eat meat. Okay, I'm not going in those waters. I could probably outswim them, but I'm not going to give it a shot. Oh, and here's a tweet that I saw the other day from the Gray Area podcast that makes a really good point. Draws an interesting parallel between the Bledsoe story and the Tom DeLonge information. So let's just go over that real quick. Ryan Bledsoe was recently on a podcast where he stated that the lady who visits his father claimed that in Egypt she was called Hathor, but has gone by many different names by different cultures. Tom DeLonge has been saying that the gods from ancient times are real and that some of them are at war with each other. We just heard recently that official sources have said that some of these crashes are due to UFOs engaging with each other, and I've shared some of those stories with you. The details fluctuate, but we are consistently hearing that these beings are interdimensional. Some are good, some are bad, and the bad ones are playing a role in influencing humanity. That's not good. Personally, I believe the Bledsoe family, and it kind of sort of scares the crap out of me. I was skeptical at first, but maybe Tom was right. Indeed, maybe Tom was right. Hey, I love Tom DeLonge. I'll disagree with him from time to time, but I think that his heart is good and that he has done a lot for ufology. In fact, without Tom, we would not be here where we are right now. He formed TTSA and got Lou Elizondo to come out of the closet and share those 3 videos, those Navy videos that were originally shared by TTSA. Without TTSA and Tom DeLonge, we probably wouldn't be where we are today. In fact, I think it's hard to argue otherwise, really. But is he right about the aliens being our ancient gods and these gods warring amongst each other? Well, could be. Could be. It is true that the Hathor, according to Ryan Bledsoe, has represented herself as Hathor. and she might also be 1/3 of the original Christian Trinity. The original Christian Trinity, according to some information, including some ancient archaeology or some archaeology of ancient Christian sites, showing the original 3 altars. It wasn't to the Holy Ghost, it was to the Mother. It was the Father, the Mother, and the Son. What some people are finding was the original Christian Trinity. So she could have been the Mother. She could have been Hathor. She could be a representation or a manifestation of the divine feminine, or at least that seems to be how she represents herself. But if she is literally Hathor, then I kind of hope she's not Hathor. Although I say that respectfully, Hathor, if you're Hathor. Because I say that because I know the people have gone to the temple of Hathor in Egypt and had fantastic transcendent experiences. There seems to be some there to that being, whether it's actually the lady or not. So I want to be respectful of whatever they are interacting with. But at the same time, Hathor, did in a different incarnation kill a lot of people. Before she was calmed and persuaded back to her human form and was nice. There's a little room for doubt there. So, but could the aliens be fighting amongst each other, or the higher dimensionals be fighting amongst each other? Absolutely. As above, so below. I hear that all the time, and I've talked about that before, and about UFOs fighting with each other, and how humanity might be caught in some sort of cosmic conflict. We're shooting at some UFOs, and we're working with the occupants of other UFOs. So are we a pawn in some sort of game? Are we the game? Are we maybe even the goal to win humanity, or a goal? Who wins gets to, Earth and, whatever, right? So I don't know about any of that, but the evidence that beings are at conflict with each other is definitely there. Evidence that beings may have been thought to be gods in ancient times is definitely there. And evidence that beings are representing themselves potentially as gods even today, as with the lady. I mean, shoot, man, she might be an actual god. That's the world we're living in now, or at least that's how I see it. But let me know what you think about these interesting thoughts, these crazy interesting thoughts in the comments below. Last but not least, check out this insane story shared by Thomas Fessler of the Disclosure Project. I'm still trying to get all the details of this, but it appears that in Avi Loeb's research on the Galileo project, the FBI is coming along and redacting information, like quite a bit of information. And I'll let you watch Thomas Fessler's show to get all the details of that. He gives a good breakdown of exactly what has been redacted, or at least how much has been redacted, how many pages, like 24 out of 28 pages, just like a whole bunch of stuff has been redacted from the Galileo projects. I think maybe an upcoming publication or something. So what is that all about? Why is the FBI involving themselves in Project Galileo? What has Avi Loeb found to necessitate the FBI stepping in to carry out some sort of cover-up? Now, I love Avi. I'm not that excited about his research, honestly. I'm excited about him engaging the mainstream in what he is doing, but looking for spherules and stuff on the bottom of the sea, as he himself says, now that he's starting to believe in the cover-up, in the control group. He says, well, if Lockheed Martin's got a UFO, why do I need to be looking at this stuff, right? There's easier ways to get answers, and he has said that himself. So that's why I'm not as excited about his research, but I am excited about him engaging the mainstream. So what has he discovered in this mainstream scientific research to require the FBI to come in and involve themselves and start hiding stuff from us about Avi Loeb's research. This is crazy, guys. I can't wait to get more details on this and more information and try to better understand what the hell is going on. And if you've seen it before I have, let me know, because this is just driving me crazy. What has Avi found? What is the FBI hiding about the Galileo project? So anyway, crazy stuff, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. Facebook and Twitter links are below. Love to see you guys there. If you wanted to share this on social media, that'd be super groovy. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, there's t-shirts and coffee mugs in the merch store below, or you can become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Also, channel members frequently get to see videos far ahead of everybody else. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos to check out on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.